Hey, my people. I hope you're fine today. Now, let me ask you something. When you think about government workers, do you picture faceless bureaucrats in big offices? Or do you think about the people who keep the air safe to breathe, who inspect food, or who process the benefits millions of Americans rely on? Because right now, those people, the ones who actually make the government run, are living through a storm. As of October 1st, the U.S. government has officially shut down. That means hundreds of thousands of federal employees have either been furloughed without pay or told to keep working with no idea when their paychecks will come. And this isn't just about missed pay. For many, it feels like the ground is shifting beneath them because this shutdown isn't only about funding. It's tied to a much bigger plan that could permanently change what it means to work for the federal government. Let's break this down together. Right now, about 750,000 federal workers are impacted. Some are sent home, told not to do their jobs, while others are classified as essential and forced to keep working even though they won't see a paycheck until the government reopens. Imagine being in that position, still showing up every day, paying for gas, childcare, food, and bills, but your paycheck? It's just paused. How long could you keep that up? Here's where it gets even more unsettling. President Trump and his administration aren't just treating this shutdown as a temporary budget standoff. They're using it as a moment to push for massive, long-term cuts. Reports say agencies have been told to draw up lists of employees who could be terminated outright. The president himself reportedly said the shutdown is a chance to get rid of a lot of things we didn't want. Doesn't that sound less like a budget issue and more like a purge? Take the Environmental Protection Agency, for example. Out of 15,000 workers, only about 1,700 are staying on duty during the shutdown. And many of the people who normally prevent environmental disasters, who monitor air and water quality, who keep communities safe, that work is being put on pause or threatened by layoffs. Now think about that. If you cut deep into the ranks of scientists, inspectors, and safety staff, who really feels the effects? It's not just the workers, it's the public. It's all of us. And this isn't just happening in one agency. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office already announced it would be laying off about 1% of its staff. And across the government, more than 100,000 federal employees have submitted resignations through something called a deferred resignation program. That's people saying, "I'm not waiting to get axed, I'll go now." It paints a picture of a workforce under siege. But let's pause here and think about the human side. Many of these workers aren't making six-figure salaries. They're middle-class people, often making under $100,000 a year. They're raising families, paying mortgages, helping their kids through school. Past shutdowns have shown us what happens. Workers drain their savings, max out credit cards, take on loans, or even turn to food banks. So, the real question is, how long can families survive on uncertainty before the damage becomes permanent? We've been here before. The last major shutdown back in 2018 and 2019 lasted 35 days and ended up costing the U.S. economy about $11 billion. And here we are again, but this time with the added weight of proposed permanent cuts, 300,000 jobs gone by the end of the year, if the administration gets its way. Can you imagine what losing that many public servants at once would mean for daily life in America? Some leaders are warning us already. Union representatives say this isn't just about politics, it's about weakening the very backbone of public service. They argue workers are being used as bargaining chips in a larger political game. One union leader put it bluntly, they're trying to extract these big changes on the backs of the public services our communities run on. That hits hard, doesn't it? Because if those services collapse, it's not just numbers on a spreadsheet. It's people who don't get inspected medicine, delayed Social Security checks, or slower emergency response times. Food banks are also bracing themselves. The head of Feeding America, the country's largest hunger relief network, warned that millions of households are just one missed paycheck away from needing help. And if this shutdown drags on, the wave of need could overwhelm already stretched-thin food banks. Think about how fragile that makes everything feel. One paycheck missed, and suddenly people who never imagined needing a food pantry are standing in line. But the workers aren't staying silent. On the very first day of the shutdown, labor unions filed lawsuits against the administration, calling the threats of mass firings not just illegal, but immoral. Everett Kelly, president of the largest federal employee union, called it unconscionable. And that raises another question. Should the government really be run like a business that can downsize on a whim, or is public service supposed to be something more stable, more protected? When you think about it, this isn't just about politics. It's about what kind of country we want to live in. Do we want a nation where public service is respected and protected, or one where it's disposable and constantly under threat? Do we want to build a workforce that attracts the best talent, or do we want one where workers live in fear of sudden layoffs? The truth is, shutdowns have ripple effects that go far beyond Washington. They hit small towns with federal facilities, they hurt families who rely on government jobs, and they even impact the broader economy. And now, with mass cuts on the table, the stakes feel even higher. So, what do you think? Should this shutdown be treated as just another political standoff, or is it a warning sign of a much deeper transformation in how the government operates? And if so, what does that mean for everyday Americans who depend on those services? I'd really love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you know someone personally affected by the shutdown? Do you think these cuts will actually make government more efficient, or do they risk hollowing out the very system that keeps the country running? Thanks so much for hanging out with me today and for diving into this important topic. If you found this video thought-provoking or helpful, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Share this video with a friend who might want to join the conversation, and of course, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next breakdown. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.